So JoJo comes back from last week's amazing episode with the alien, and for the first half of the episode we get to continue that dice game, and I love the interaction between Rohan and Josuke. You know, he's just sweating because Rohan knows he is cheating. He gives these faces like, oh, I guess you could roll that same one 3 times in a row, and then he stabs his pinky and says, alright, I'm done playing around. And he throws, you know, the ultimate gamble. I forget the character's name, but the one who had that lock. He brings him into the fray and says, listen, if I can't figure out how you're cheating in this next throw, I will give you this much money to pay for you to fix my finger. However, if you're cheating and I figure out how, you have to, like, cut off your pinky. And if you don't cheat, it's like this whole dynamic. Like, he's locked into it, so he has to cheat. And, you know, that final throw, like, Rohan does it, he just gets, you know, an average throw. Nothing suspicious about it. But when Josuke goes, there's sirens going off from these fire trucks. And you don't really clue into, like, why there's sirens going off and why it keeps getting louder until after the, you know, the dice throw. But you look at the dice and he's throwing up because of the dizziness, but also the sirens itself. So he throws it and he gets triple, you know, sixes. But at the same time, you can see, like, on Josuke's side, the die are just, like, melting and going back to normal form. But Rohan can't see and he's going to pick it up. And you're just kind of at the edge of your seat being like, Josuke deserves to be caught, but at the same time, you're kind of rooting for the guy because he's such a con artist in his own way. And then you see that Rohan's house is on fire because of the magnifying glass, so he gets out of there. That was just such a nice twist. I didn't see something like that coming. But at the same time, I'm just kind of feeling bad for Rohan, being like, damn, he got like 7 million yen worth of damages there, but he doesn't even care. He's just upset that Josuke did this. So, you know, the divide between the two is even better. So when they focus back on Kira, I'm just sitting here like, okay, so now we're getting back into Kira, and, you know, Kira's father gives this stand Highway Star or Highway Go-Go, depending on the translation, because it can't be said in the anime, in terms of English localization, because of censorship there, in terms of, you know, them not being able to get sued. Really doesn't matter what you call it. But they give the stand to someone. We don't know who the stand user is, but it's able to, like, replicate this room inside this tunnel. So when Josuke and Rohan are in the bus, Rohan sees this, but of course Josuke's not going to believe him because he just conned him, so he's thinking, you know, he's trying to get revenge. But Rohan sees this room and Kira in it, but the room pretty much replicates what you want to see, it seems like. So he gets lured in there, but this stand has these, like, footprints that can chase you up to 60 kilometers an hour, and when they get you, it sucks out your life. And when Rohan goes in to try to figure out what the weakness is, it has none. So seeing this stand, it's actually a little frightening. This is, in a lot of ways, the most frightening stand, in my opinion, just because Rohan says it doesn't have a weakness. The only way to stop it would be to stop the stand user itself, and I'll be really interested to see who the stand user is. But I loved it when, you know, Josuke was like, are you in there? And Rohan's talking to him like, if I actually bring Josuke in here, will you let me live? And he says yes. He's like, yeah, my favorite thing is to say no to, you know, villains, pretty much. I love that interaction in him throwing Josuke away and Josuke, you know, taking off on Rohan's motorcycle. So that entire interaction was great, but I question, how is he going to live? Because Rohan's, you know, hanging on by a thread of his life force here. So the only way that he could live is if this stand wants to keep him alive to kind of lure Josuke back in there. But I mean, at the same time, what purpose would that hold? Like, really it would make sense just to kill him, in all honesty, unless he wants to use him as, like, a bargaining chip, which could be what they want to do here. But I'm really interested to see who the stand user is going to be, exactly, because it's really interesting. But speaking of stand users, I love that this alien has a mother that he says that he brainwashed the mother to thinking that he just tells people that he's aliens, and he worked his way in there. But it's this whole question of, is he an alien or is he a stand user? I love that. You know, it's just, I wouldn't even be mad if he shows us this flying saucer or not that he's been saying here. I assume if he really is an alien, in a few episodes we'll see it happen, or by the end of the series. But it's just one of those things that I just love that little bit of humor there, and if it never gets answered, I'm fine with that. I don't want to know from manga readers. Spoiler free here. I just love that comment there. And I love Josuke just being so confused with the whole thing. That was really good. But in terms of the presentation, I loved just the dramatic shots this episode, from the dice game up into, you know, Rohan, you know, trying to fight his way from this new stand. That was really damn good. Overall, this episode, it almost felt like 3 episodes in one at times, you know, with how it blended it. It didn't feel too fast-paced or anything, but it just felt like there's so much content in one episode, but it was paced very well, and it actually worked in its favor. And I'm really excited to see what Josuke does next week in terms of finding the stand user and how he will find the stand user and what's ultimately going to happen to Rohan. But overall, this episode was really solid from the presentation to the core content in it, with Rohan's house burning was just an ultimate twist here. But overall, what did you guys think of this episode? And for anime onlys, what do you think is going to happen to Rohan ultimately? And do you think Josuke is going to find the stand user before Rohan dies? Because it's looking a little grim for him, but you never know, Rohan can get out of these situations if he really wants to sometimes. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hit that like button if you did enjoy the video, and subscribe if you're new to the channel. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.